Candidates here today. Thank you very much for coming. I have to say personally, I'm a little disappointed that we don't have all the candidates running for mayor. And I would like to congratulate the editorial page of the Daily News, who had just a week ago and the op-ed section an editorial saying joining in debates is the right thing to do.
We are going through an economic crisis that is affecting all of us, but it's affecting working people way worse. And that's why I'm running as a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and I'm running on the basis of uniting people. The first thing I would do for undocumented workers, not illegals, undocumented workers, is to give them legalization. If we want to talk about the carts, if we want to talk about the taco trucks, I stand with the taco trucks, I stand with the vendors, and I wish they were marching with us on May Day, March 25th. I wish they were out there with the taco trucks. If you want to do something about health, if you want to do something about the health issues concerned with the taco trucks, then bring them into the formal equality by giving them legalization.
My name's Walter Moore. Part of the problem with the city right now is the mayor shows up just 11% of the time to do his job. If I'm elected, I will work twice as hard. Stop the obscene welfare for the rich. You know, Villaraigossa says he's united people. He has, because we have a socialist, a couple of Republicans, marijuana minister. They're all united in wanting to throw him out of office. He says he's gotten things done. Boy, has he. Revenues are up 32% to $7 billion a year since he took office, and he's gotten things done. He's spent every penny of that and another $400 million a year to put us in a deficit at a time when revenues are sky high. The mayor says he's gotten the crime rate down. It's a feeble boast. He's gotten it down 2.5%. Surrounding cities have gotten it down 6%.
My name is Phil Jennerjohn. I'm running for mayor of Los Angeles. The reason I'm running is I see a vacuum of leadership in this city. I see a man who's not a leader, and it's important to change that. I'm going to launch a crackdown on illegal immigration. And I want to make sure that this is not anger or hatred based. You know, I speak Spanish. It's not a problem. I don't dislike people who immigrate here. But the problem is we can't accept the numbers that are coming right now. It's a matter of math, and it's a matter of finances rather than anything else.
This is a great opportunity because this is not only about you listening to us, but us listening to you. What's important in your community, what's important in Van Nuys or Sun Valley or Samantahanga, or Sherman Oaks, because it's really important that we realize that many of the challenges that we have are across the city, whether it's San Pedro, whether it's Sylmar, whether it's Eagle Rock, whether it's Woodland Hills. That's my platform. Transparency, accountability, and empowerment. Where are your tax dollars going? Are you getting your money's worth? And is there someone else who can do a better job? And if so, how do we empower you to do it? Thank you.
Yes, my name is David Salzberg, also known as Zuma Dog. Doing what first of all most qualifies me is I have a 14-point plan based on W. Edwards Deming. He's the forefather of quality management who taught the Japanese how to rebuild their economy after the war in the 50s. And I think LA's kind of in a rebuilding situation. Luckily, I've studied, he's been my mentor throughout my life, starting in the early 90s.
Is that the city needs a lot of help with jobs. We have over a 10% employment rate, and it's an official unemployment rate of 10%, but unofficially it's more like 20% and even higher in some areas, because as soon as a person's unemployed for 6 months, they're not even counted as unemployed anymore. They mentioned that I'm pro-marijuana. On the television show Weeds, I played the owner of the Medical Marijuana Club. I don't know if anyone's seen the show. It's on cable TV on Showtime. On the show, I'm a little forgetful. But in reality, like I said, I have my wife to help me out. Especially medical marijuana is something that should be taxed and regulated, and that we should prevent the DEA from coming into our city, because they're saying that Starbucks is losing jobs and they're taking people away from there, where these medical marijuana clubs are paying sales tax, income tax, other revenues towards the city, and we need to protect them and that income that's coming towards our city. Thank you.
What is the worst decision or a decision that you completely disagreed with that incumbent Mayor Antonio Villaraigossa has made in his first term, and how would you have handled it?
And the LAPD budget would be cut in half.
The worst decision Villaraigossa made was to keep campaigning after he was elected. He keeps campaigning. He spends all his time in Iowa, Illinois, Florida. He never shows up for work. As a result, you have a series of terrible things happening at City Hall. It's not a ceremonial office. You're not like the Queen of England where you just wave at people. You're supposed to manage departments. So the consent decree that ties up lots of police doing paperwork instead of making the streets safe got extended 3 years because no one was minding the store. May Day. We have riots and new lawsuits happening because no one was minding the store, monitoring how the police behave. Fire department, we get hammered with a dog food case because no one is making sure that harassment doesn't take place and no one qualified is in the office to prevent frivolous lawsuits.
The worst decision, Mayor Villaraigossa, his worst one is that the whole thing about illegal immigration, that he refuses to even discuss it. He doesn't even mention those two words. Something that ties up hundreds of millions of dollars in social services and all types of things. And I think the worst decision Antonio Villaraigossa has made is to absolutely ignore the voters of the city. I mean, this is one of the most secretive elections in American history. We have 10 men running for mayor, the second largest city in America, and this mayor refuses to attend any events. He's been invited repeatedly by neighborhood association, after neighborhood council, after religious group, after social functions. He ignores every one of them except the ones that he can control with his supporters.
AB 1381. That was the mayor's attempt to take over LAUSD unconstitutionally. All of his focus, his energy, his resources were focused on something other than being mayor of Los Angeles. We saw the facility bonds, the billions of dollars going to developers and construction companies. Given the state of the city of Los Angeles, his #1 priority should have been the city of Los Angeles and your welfare, not taking over LAUSD.
Yes, unfortunately, the question is only one thing. However, I will say, you have to talk about Measure B at this point, the way he rushed this onto the ballot, and because it's very unsafe. What people don't talk about, DWP, we have aging infrastructure, the transformers, one bad heat wave, it's going to look like Tropic Thunder scene that they didn't film, and they will be filming it. And it's caused so much outrage. I haven't seen this much outrage against something.
Every single one of us candidates running is against Measure B. He was on Fox News this morning trying to say it's only going to cost $1 billion. Laura Chick, our city controller, said it could cost $3.6 billion. And what people really don't understand, I think I'm for solar power, and a lot of us out here in the audience would say solar power is great. The issue is, can you afford to put on this much debt onto the city in an economy like this? And what I think could happen is a danger to the city is that it could go into so much debt that the city would be forced to sell it off and privatize the DWP. And I think that a public utility like this belongs in the public hands. And that is the worst decision, I agree with Zuma, forcing and rushing Measure B onto the ballot right now.
What is the best decision that you've seen, or a decision that you agree with, out of City Hall under the mayor's leadership?
I don't think he's personally made any good decisions. Prop B was one where we're not sure how much it's going to cost, but the major thing that is wrong with Prop B is that it's a bond issue. It's putting it on the backs of working people when it's well-intentioned in the way that it creates jobs. And we need to create more thousands of unionized jobs at $15 minimum wage, and that's what we could do with programs like B. But not at the expense of taxpayers, not at the expense of working people that have to fund it through their own income. So.
The best decision.
Best decision was all that he's done for the photographers of our city. That was in one photo op after another. I wanted all the pictures that we taxpayers own at City Hall of him. 33 gigabytes. Been good for photographers, bad for the rest of us.